Justin Jackson here from Transistor, and I'm with my friend Matt Stauffer. How's it going, Matt?
It's great, man.
We had a typical pre-show where we were trying to figure out our audio, and it was me. The problem was me. Hello, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Like, it only took us 20 minutes, and we had lots of good conversation during the time.
That's right. Glad to have you here.
Thanks,
so,
man.
Matt, you are the co-owner of Titan, which is a Laravel agency. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you are also the host of the Laravel podcast.
You got it.
Just for anyone who doesn't know what Laravel is, maybe just quickly describe it.
Yeah, so Laravel is a full-stack web application development framework for PHP. So if you're familiar with tech, that means you've probably heard of things like Rails and Express and stuff like that. This is the PHP version of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we can. One reason this is an interesting case study for me is Laravel is a sensation. You and the creator of this framework, Taylor Otwell, do this podcast called the Laravel Podcast. This was a podcast you've been running for a long time, right? Yeah. You recently switched it to Transistor. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
thanks for making that happen, man.
And now the new season of this podcast is with Taylor Otwell and you. The best way I can describe the way people are excited about Laravel, it's like Apple fans, Apple fanboys. When Taylor Otwell does a keynote speech, he is Steve Jobs, right? Yeah. He has a huge following. You have quite a big following as well. So this podcast has the potential actually to grow quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so interesting about it is I think between the interest in Laravel in general and then the social followings you folks have, you have a lot of audience building going on other places.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if we can give you some marketing ideas, promotion tips to grow the show, basically to get more people who are interested, passionate about Laravel listening to the Laravel podcast.
Yeah. And further, like to me, I'm just like, the podcast has been running for years. We've got a lot of people who like it, but at the time it started, it was like one of the only pieces of media out there about Laravel, right? So like, of course, everybody tunes into it. And so it still has a lot of people listening to it, but the way we share content and the way we use content has changed a lot over those years.
Yeah.
And the podcast is still the same thing. The only thing that I've added since the beginning is every single one we record on Riverside, we put the video up on YouTube. So we both have a YouTube version and a podcast version. Beyond that, nothing, not a single thing. It's a tweet that says, hey, the latest podcast is out, and that's it. And it kind of feels like, man, there's just so much more stuff going on that we have not taken advantage of. So yeah, people love the podcast and it'd be great if it grows, but like, I'm happy with the listener count, but I'm like, I want to give them more exposure to it. Like as a person with young kids, like I don't always get to work through my podcast, but when my favorite podcast people put up little snippets or whatever, I'm like, I love that. Cause maybe I'm 10 podcast episodes behind. I'm going to listen to that snippet or whatever. Right. So I'm just like trying to give people more to do with it,
Exactly. I have an interesting crossover here because I did an episode with Taylor Otwell on our show. And it was our biggest episode ever.
Love it.
So let's start in the Transistor dashboard. We'll start, I'll give you an example from my show, and then we'll go to your dashboard, and then we'll talk about some of the opportunities. So here's our analytics for the Build Your SaaS show. You can kind of see the arc of our show. Most of it happened in this period here, and this kind of followed the story of us building Transistor. So it makes sense that this would be kind of the most popular place. But if we go down here, you can break down episodes by first 30 days, all time, etc. But let's look at first 30 days, and we'll just sort it by, the most popular. Taylor Otwell, most popular in the first 30 days with 10,000 downloads.
That's wild, man.
And there was a few reasons for this that I think we'll get into. One, Taylor does have a big audience and he tweeted it. Two, it ended up getting into Reddit as a discussion. Like it was noteworthy to be posted there. And this particular one, like this would have actually been an amazing episode for you folks to have as your first episode in the season, because this was the story about how he created the framework and it changed his life. And there's just a lot of interest in that, and
Yeah.
it kind of drove a lot of folks. By the way, you can click through on each of these, and you can see kind of the. I like looking at this cumulative chart, so you can kind of see the growth over those first days. And I mean, you can see in this case, it got posted, it got shared a lot during that time. We're also going to show you, this is actually also interesting. Look how many folks listened on desktop browser and mobile browser.
Wow. That's very surprising. That's not subscribers. That's people linking directly into this episode.
My guess is that a lot of the link got tweeted, and a lot of folks just opened it up on their desktop and said, I'm going to listen to this today in the browser. Even for a small show like ours, that the Taylor Otwell effect was significant, right?
Yeah.
I think our third most popular episode. So there's another kind of popular person in our space named Jason Fried. He's our second most popular. And then I think we did a follow-up episode with Taylor, and that's like, it's still in our top whatever. So
and Jason again.
Yeah. So the trend there is like, what's one way to grow a show is to leverage a high-profile guest, a high-profile topic with that guest to kind of set the stage, bring more people in. If you look at after that Taylor Otwell episode, we had a spike, and we actually did have a sustained number of people listening. So that episode was in April. So there's the big April month. But look at it, it went down, but it was still, we were down here.
Quite a bit up, yeah.
And then we had quite a few of those folks stick around.
You know, one thing that's interesting is that I've had Taylor on multiple different podcasts of mine. I've had him on another podcast I do called Things with Learning. I've had him on 2 different seasons of Laravel podcast when he wasn't my primary person. And we covered a lot of those same topics, but I didn't market them. I didn't name them in the same way that you did. So I didn't have that, like freaking PHP and a cheap laptop changed my life I would watch, I don't even know who's talking about it, and I want to watch that, right? Where I had the things that were all the same things. It would be something like more about the story of Laravel with Taylor, and it just doesn't catch people the same way. So yes, the marketing really does something.
The packaging is super important. Yeah. So, and with the podcast, I think you've actually done a really great job. Let's go back to your show now here. So let's go back here. So one thing you've done a really great job on is the packaging of the show looks great. You've got really nice show art. The website looks great. You have episode specific art. One thing I would recommend here in terms of the packaging is faces. If you can get faces in there, they do convert.
Yeah, I was wondering, because we if you look at the last season, I had the faces because it was a different guest every time. And this time I was like, do I just put both of our faces on all of them? And I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, you know? I think I would, because these episode artwork shows up in different places. We're going to be talking a lot about search today. Faces do convert better. One reason faces convert better is search engines. And search engine optimization on the web is mostly for optimizing Google. Search engine optimization for podcasts is thinking, how does my podcast search up? How does my podcast perform on search queries in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and places like that? And so Taylor Otwell, and then if you look at the episodes that show up, Taylor Otwell, The Business of Laravel 2022, that's Taylor and I. Taylor Otwell, here's Taylor on stage. It instantly, as soon as you can see, if people recognize the Taylor Otwell face, there's a better chance of them saying, okay, this is it almost immediately communicates, oh, Taylor's a guest on this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
this one here, is this just them, doing a biography on him or something? Yeah. This is like, okay, he's a guest. And an episode artwork now shows up in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And this is something I would do, like, if people want to know, like, what podcast is Taylor Otwell on, what podcasts is Matt Stauffer on, and also the other thing to search is Laravel, and let's just see what shows up, right?
All right. So we got it on the podcast.
You got it on the podcast.
I got to figure out some way for that podcast to show up when you search his name, though, because it didn't show up there.
Yeah. So this is another package thing. So right now the show is listed as Matt Stauffer.
Oh.
And
if we updated it for the latest season.
And if we go down to here, that would be where I would add it right here.
Show owner. Okay. Is it owner or author that shows up there? Because I see.
Sorry. This would be the author. Correct. Okay. So the owner is the contact information for mostly for verification purposes.
Yeah.
Author is who's this podcast by.
Got it.
So adding Taylor Otwell and Matt Stauffer, then in those search results, it will start to show up like that.
All right.
The other thing to maybe update in the future, this would be quite a heavy lift, but we have this people section here, and people is now a supported tag within podcast RSS feeds. So if we go to the Build Your SaaS podcast and we go to people, we could, and I search for Taylor, there he is. So Taylor Otwell, this metadata is in the RSS feed.
Yeah.
And we can also then filter by the episodes he's on.
Love that.
It also gives you another, for search engine optimization on Google, it gives you another place for people to find, episodes with Taylor Otwell. And more and more of the independent podcast apps are supporting these people tags. So, for example, if they're using a search engine like Listen Notes, they would be able to find people just using these tags here.
Awesome.
So a little bit of a heavy lift because you're going to have to go back through all of your episodes and add these folks.
I have a VA, so
there you go.
That's how I'm able to do all this with the podcast is VAs. So
now, and let me show you something cool here. This will make it a little bit faster. You just put Taylor Otwell in there, load from Twitter.
It scrapes it all. Nice.
Use this information, choose role, co-host or guest, and then you just choose all of the episodes that you want to apply him to. So yeah, you're doing well. If people are searching for Laravel in Spotify, you're right at the top.
Love
and I think the one where you could really, this is pretty common. People go, I just want to hear a bunch of episodes with Taylor. So how do I find those? And this is where I think you could.
Got it.
Adding Taylor Otwell as the author will help you out quite a bit. Let's go over here. This is interesting. So this is Spotify's survey, but so I think these are the options they gave people. But top methods for new podcast discovery: hearing about it on a podcast they already listened to. So in your ecosystem, I think a simple email you could write is to write all your buddies and just say, "Hey, Aaron Francis. Hey, Caleb. Hey, Colborne. Hey, all these people." And just say, we're trying to let people know that the Laravel podcast is back. Could you mention it in your next episode? And you folks have so much goodwill. You've got lots in your bank, your social bank. Yeah. I think you could call in some favors, and having people mention it I think you would get a lot more people listening just that way. Recommendations from friends and family. This is just like a built-in thing, which is in your episode to be deliberate about giving people a prompt, which is just to say, "Hey, it's Matt. We want more people to find out about the show. If you have friends that would like the show, it would mean the world to us if you could share the show. Just laravelpodcast.com. If you end up like messaging somebody, let me know. I'm on whatever." And it gives them this feedback loop, and people are excited about doing it. The second prompt or trigger that we found very helpful is, let's say that you do that at the beginning of the episode. So you just say, "Hey, before we get started, just want to remind you folks, this show people find out about the show from word of mouth. If you share it with a friend, that'd be great. If you do that, let me know, and I'll thank you at the end of the episode." Then at the end of the episode, you say, "Thanks to folks this week who shared the podcast on Twitter or whatever," and you read out the names. People love
nice.
Having their names read out at the end of an episode.
That's awesome.
This has also been our Patreon strategy. We have these 15 supporters that have, even though our podcast is now infrequent, very few people, very few new episodes, these folks just love having their name shouted out at the end of the episode. And I've heard from some of these folks that have been around for a long time. They tell me like people recognize me at conferences. Like I got DMs
That's
from
awesome.
people. So people really like this format of just, we'd like to take a moment to thank people who have shared the show or reviewed the show. And it creates this nice feedback loop where it's like someone's listening and going, oh, I'm going to do that now because. So 2 reminders, one at the beginning, one at the end. You could automate this if you wanted. We have dynamic ad insertion. So you could create an ad called Matt's pre-roll. And it could just be, hey, please share this with a friend. And you just upload audio where you say that, and it will automatically insert that audio at the beginning of every episode you've ever done. It's also nice having these. Eventually, I think this will be helpful for both of you because, for example, you're an author, right? You just updated your book. Dynamic ads are a great way to promote a book launch. And Tim Ferriss, for example, he had someone manually download all of his episodes, add a little thing like, hey, my new book's out, and then re-upload them. You can do this dynamically with your account, and you can mix these in and out. So once people are tired of hearing, hey, please share this with a friend, you can just switch it up to something else. And you can also do mid-rolls. So if you didn't want to do at the beginning, you could do it right in the middle of an episode. Okay, let's go back to Spotify's thing. Browsing Spotify, so that's people searching on Spotify, browsing social media, and then reading articles, blogs, newsletters, and then rankings and charts. So you can see how it breaks down. And there's other research that's similar to this. So the Edison Research, they put out a study every year. It's almost always consistently been, how do you discover new shows? Searching the internet, social media posts, recommendations from friends and family.
There you go.
So that would be the second thing we'd want to search is Laravel podcast. You're number 1. So
love to hear it.
That's perfect. The next thing to look is Taylor Otwell podcast. And so this is where we're going to do some things to start. Oh, you got one here. So that's good, right?
Okay. But interestingly, that is Taylor on my other podcast when he was a guest. So this really wants his name in the title to show up for these ones.
That's right. The search engine, especially on podcast platforms, are really quite dumb. They're optimizing for podcast title first, episode title second, description, so show description, and then episode description next. And that's it, right? Most of the attention is on episode titles and show titles. So yeah, having his name in whenever it's applicable is perfect. I think also you've got this great, you and him are co-hosting right now, but every once in a while drop somebody who's kind of hot right now into the mix, right? Like get like an Aaron Francis or somebody that has some vibe going.
It's a moment, yeah. And
that can also be helpful. When I'm like doing optimization of all this stuff, I'm like, what is showing up first? And this is the top result right now. And I think that's interesting to me. I would almost, if I was you, I would be trying to unthrone this. Yeah. So either on the Titan blog or somewhere else, have top Taylor Otwell podcast interviews and try to unseat this here. And I've done this quite a bit. Top podcasts for bootstrappers. This is like one way to be able to list a bunch of episodes and then drive traffic to.
Love that.
Because people, just think about yourself. Like if you live in Switzerland and you're just getting into Laravel and you have a 30-minute commute and you're like, okay, I want to like what am I going to search? Laravel podcast, Taylor Otwell podcast, Matt Stauffer podcast. If they read your book, like you've giving folks that, and that would be interesting. Matt Stauffer podcast. So you have a section right here. So this is great, but you might want to just, if you're focused on Laravel podcast, put that number one. And you could even have a hot episodes section for episodes you really want to feature. This is, so you do have a Twitter profile. I would put your pinned tweet should be a video clip highlight.
Okay.
So build your SaaS. I think we did this. Yeah. So this is our pinned tweet. And this is just, you'll see, if you like listening to bootstrapping podcasts, then find us on all these places. And here's a video that describes what the podcast is about. Nice. And I think you folks your video would be even better if it has your faces on it. So then people are seeing, and then that trailer, that little, like, here's one clip, then you're going to put it everywhere. You're going to put it as when you come here, it'll be the feature video here.
Yeah.
It'll also, because it's short enough, you could create a 60-second version that you can put on Instagram Reels, TikTok, Shorts. So I started this little demo show just to test some of this stuff out. And this is very, very small, but it's interesting to see the numbers that some of these things do. So here's a YouTube short. So here's the original full-length YouTube video, which is only 6 minutes and 19 seconds long, but it got 411 views. The short that talks about the same thing is about 3,000. And then we continue on. Here on Instagram, the short didn't do as well, but this short here about Google Podcasts being shut down did about 2,000. And then over here on TikTok, it's so fascinating. The Joe Rogan one did well here as well. And the Google Podcast one also did well. And here on Twitter, this clip also did fairly well compared to other clips we've done. Yeah. Now, this is quite a bit of work to have to do this all the time. So depending on who you have on your team and how much time you have, but it seems like an easy win is just to have, here's one clip that really pulls in the viewer and listener. Yeah. And we're going to use that clip as the trailer for our pinned tweet, a reel on Instagram, a TikTok thing, a short, and then you get that exposure in one spot, right? Yeah. So then at least if someone's searching, that would be interested too, Laravel on TikTok, what shows up, this is also, I've had success in finding people that are already posting about Laravel. It's a little bit more work, but again, if you have a VA or somebody, just have them reach out to some of these people and say, hey, we're just looking for someone to tell people about the Laravel podcast. Yeah. Again, if you got so much goodwill in the community, there might be someone that's willing to just do it for you. You just send them the clip and you can say something about it if you want or not. But some of these folks might be willing to share. Again, maybe just create an account that says Laravel podcast. Yeah. One post just to get things started, and then you can leave it for a while and see how it performs. But there's some debate in podcasting whether things like this drive traffic to the podcast. And anecdotally, I think it's true. Like people view clips of Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn or any of those, but eventually a lot of those folks do end up, listening to the audio podcast. Yeah. All right. How are we doing? Is this,
this is fantastic. I was like, I need to make a checklist. And I was like, wait a minute, we're recording this.
We're recording all this. Yeah. It's all be available.
This is fantastic. And I'm really excited about it in part because while I did say I have a VA that can come back and redo some of this stuff. I also am not like, this is not my job. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have ads on the Laravel podcast because it's a service to the community. So it's this weird thing where it's sort of like, it's a service to the community. I don't want to put a whole bunch of time and money into it. And yet I want people to actually get access to it. And so I do want to put money into it, and or at least time into it. So I think you've given me some really like helpful, here's some entry level stuff. There's some easy wins. I'm not going to be that person who's going to put up 6 new video snippets from every single episode that are being spaced out in 16 different social media sites. But some of the things you said here, I'm like, I could do that, especially given the fact that I have help, I have VA help. Like, those are manageable things.
The other thing for you to consider, again, because you have so much goodwill, is I've seen other podcasts do this, is they just say, so you as the host could also say, hey, I'm making the video recording of this available to whoever. It's at the link in the show notes. If you would like to make clips and share them on Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube, or whatever, we would love it. That's one way that people find the show. And they've had kind of a crowdsourcing approach to this.
Yeah.
And you could even, just say, hey, like, we're just doing this as a gift to the community. If this show has been useful to you, and you want us to help spread the word, then you can do that by, here's the link. Just go in and just create some clips. And then feel free to share them. Just use this hashtag so we can find it later. And again, that becomes another opportunity. Right before you record, you just quickly look at the hashtag. Oh, thanks to Damien for sharing on TikTok. Thanks to whoever for sharing on Instagram. We appreciate it. And you create this nice cycle. So the podcast, the folks hosting the show, especially if you have fans that want to help out, that you can leverage that. There's people that are like, I want to be a part of this,
Yeah.
And I've also seen folks take those fans that have been like especially excited about it and just go at the end, they just thank them. And thanks to Tony for doing our TikTok reels. And, so they're kind of in charge of it, but it gives them some practical recognition, which they often will like. So I think that could work for you, this show especially.
I appreciate that. And I know we're about to wrap, but one thing I want to say is I really like how you have been talking about the social capital, the kind of the relationship energy.
Yeah.
Only because one of the things that's been really important for me for the podcast is to not turn it into a thing that's selling or pitching what I'm doing, right? Like it started as a service to the community. It is staying a service to the community. So that's why there's no ads. There's no anything like that. But like ads to get more people to listen to the podcast, that doesn't defeat the purpose of being a service to the community. But I'm so wary of being the ad guy, the pitch guy, the schmooze guy, that I hadn't even thought about this before. I'm like, if the whole point is for people to get the value that is being created here, then doing this work and pulling a little bit of that relational capital in and saying, I'm going to convert this to more people listening to the thing.
Yeah.
That works with my values. I could do that.
Totally. And you can even get Taylor on the mic, just really low voice. Hey, everybody, it's Taylor Otwell. I'd love for you guys to share this show. Thanks. That it could be that all alone. It takes.
There you go.
Maybe just get me to come on and imitate Taylor.
Yes. That's even better. I love this. You know what I need to do? I now to get every single person in the community to do their Taylor imitation and then put that together in one.
Oh, dude, that would be
full of ideas.
That would be an incredible bonus episode.
It's Taylor back in the studio. We heard that, man. We know what he sounds like. I'm going to do that.
That would be hilarious. So one final thing I would recommend is, so you're going to create this trailer episode. This is the teaser for the podcast. So in 1 minute, what is the sales pitch? And in a lot of places, this trailer is featured. So on the podcast websites, it's like, if I just land here and I don't want to dive into a 44-minute episode, I can just listen to 1 minute and get a sense for like, oh, okay, this is worth listening to. And it's just a great way to say, hey, here's a quick way to find out about the podcast. I would create the video version, publish that everywhere, and then export the audio and then make that the audio version.
Justin, you're amazing, man. I can't believe you're giving me all this stuff for free. This is so good.
We're going to share this with everybody. So
there you go.
Thanks so much for doing this. We're really appreciate it. Appreciate you trying out Transistor, and
great experience, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll do a follow-up maybe in a little while. I think it'd be fun to have a follow-up series and just say, okay, we tried some things, what worked, what didn't, and
we're going to look at those charts starting on this date. And just going to watch those things go up.
Yeah, let's see what we can make happen. So,
I love it.
Cool. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, everybody. If you're looking for a place to start a podcast or grow your podcast, Transistor is a great choice. We have a modern, user-friendly interface for creating episodes, for distributing to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, all of the major platforms. Plus, we have really detailed podcast analytics, get a breakdown of the performance of every single episode you release. And we also have dynamic ad insertion and a free podcast website that you can use for your show. You can sign up for free for 14 days at transistor.fm.